Welcome to Origami Snowman. My name is Matt. So a thing happened to me today that I'm not real proud of how I didn't handle it well. So I had today's the last day before our school district spring break, and that day is always hectic. That last day before a break is always crazy, for lots of different reasons. Well, people are excited to go on break. People have gone too long without a break. People have big plans, which, when you try to plan out maximum relaxation, it never results in maximum relaxation. And you feel it going into it, and you think, oh, this should be relaxing, and no one's relaxed, and everything's stressful, and the backfiring plan and the wasted opportunity to relax just compounds, and everybody gets crazier. So there's just a lot of tension and a lot of like unpleasantness in the air, just generally. And if you're an empath, you feel it, and you mirror it, and that's not great. And so maybe that's what's been going on with me lately. But one of our drivers was in an automobile accident on her own time, not the school bus. This is a hobby of hers. This isn't something she usually brings with her to work, and she's fine. She's just very sore and not really eager to drive a school bus. She's just stiff neck, just a lot of aches and pains. But that means someone else has to drive her bus. I've mentioned before, our job isn't like not every other job, but our job isn't like some other jobs where, you know, if you miss work, you can just make up the next day. It doesn't work that way. If you miss work, someone has to take those children home. And so what we do is oftentimes, if we don't have an available sub, we'll ask a driver to do what we call a back-to-back or double route. And today, I often get asked to do double routes because I'm willing, and because my route, where it ends, it usually spits me out in a very convenient part of our district where I'm conveniently located. I can swing by and usually pick up another load of kids from the high school, and it's just a matter of convenience for the kids, so they don't have to wait quite as long for their ride. They've already waited long enough. So I agreed to do this route, and found out that the administration at the high school was told that the bus would be there to pick up these extra kids at a time it was absolutely impossible for me to do. And I was very frustrated because I'd had the conversation. I said, this is what time my route ends, so I won't be able to get to the high school until, shortly after. And the high school was told a good 15 minutes, that I would be there a good 15 minutes before I was actually able to get there. Now, that put a lot of extra stress and a lot of extra pressure on me, because now not only am I got to go drive a route I'm unfamiliar with kids I don't know, try to get them home in a timely manner, but now I'm already running late, because when I realized what time they had been told, I looked at my clock and it was already after that time, a couple minutes. But, so I got on my radio and I contacted the high school and I said, I don't know what y'all heard, but I will not be there until this time. And they said, okay, drive safe and do your best. And you could hear it over the radio. They were a little irritated. And it makes me look bad. It looks like I'm the one who is going slow and I'm the one who screwed up. And it's very frustrating, because I'm very good at my job, and I don't do a lot of things well, but when I do something well, I do not appreciate looking like I screwed up. It just, now if you hand me some numbers and you say, hey, make sense of these, and I do it wrong, yeah, no, you shouldn't have asked me to do that in the first place. But driving a bus, that's one of the few things that I pretty much home run every time. I'm not bragging. It's just a weird thing. It's like everything I've ever done in my life has sort of funneled into this one, specialty. It If you put me in a dump truck, would I drive that dump truck as well? Probably not. If you put me in a classroom, would I relate as to the kids as well? Probably not. So it's this weird Venn diagram overlap of two things that I'm pretty good at combining into one thing that I'm really good at. So when I am in a position where I look like I screwed up and it is absolutely not my fault, that irritates me. So I was already in a pretty bad mood. And so I managed, I did it. I got my kids dropped off and I went and I picked up the other kids. There were some hiccups at the high school. Some of the gates leading into the lot were locked, and I'm not sure why they've been doing that, but that meant I had to circle around, and it was a good extra 5 minutes just to go, because it's a pretty big school, and getting into the lot, finding out, oh, I can't get through the lot, so I had to turn around and get out of the lot and go back through traffic. It was just a big headache, and I was so stressed out. And you don't show that to the kids. You just kind of bottle it up and you try to be amicable and you try to put them at ease and you try to make them not bitter about having to be, because these kids should have been home about, half an hour earlier. And then after I got the high school kids, I had to go and I had to pick up their middle school counterparts. I don't have middle schoolers on my bus, but a lot of buses do have high school and middle school. So I had to swing back and go all the way over to the middle school and pick up those kids. And then I could start taking them home. And I do not know where these kids live. Our route sheets, they have an address for the stop, for the bus stop, and directions on how to get there. And if you are lucky, you'll have time to look over it. And I did. I looked over it, and it's in an area that I'm not familiar with. I've been through there a few times, but I don't know it very well. And hopefully, usually the kids are helpful and they'll say, yeah, okay, it's right up here. It's this house with the blue car in the driveway. Or, yeah, you're going to turn up here. Just see where that road just past the trees, that kind of thing. And that is so helpful because if you're just left trying to figure it out, you creep. That bus creeps along. And it's very clear. If you've ever seen a bus where the driver doesn't know where they're going, it's very clear. They don't move. And so, it's pretty stressful, and these kids are already late, and high school kids are chill. They're sitting there doing their thing. Middle school kids, they are never chill. They don't know how to be chill. So it was loud, it was stressful, and I'd finally gotten to a rhythm where I'd say, okay, who gets off first? Like, raise your hand if your stop is next, that kind of thing. And I'd say, okay, come up here, get me to your house. And that works pretty well because you are asking a specific child for very specific instructions. It's kind of like in CPR training, where they say, don't, if you find a person in need of medical help, don't say to the other people, someone call 911. You have to say specifically you. You point out a specific person and say you call 911. Because if you say someone, then everyone else is going to assume that someone else is going to do it. They don't want to get involved. Teenagers are the same way when you're driving a bus and you don't know where you're going. If you say, okay, Jimmy, are you next? Great. You tell me how to get to your house. And then Jimmy's like, well, okay, I guess that makes sense why I should be the one to do it. Great. Okay. And, also, if you make sure these kids know that if you tell me wrong, you're not in trouble. It's not your job. It's my job. But I am asking for a little bit of help so that we can all get through this a little quicker and a little more painlessly. And if they know that they're not going to get in trouble for giving you wrong directions, or if they're hesitant, or if they're not sure, or honestly, even if you just say, how am I doing? Does this look good? Is this fine? Sure, that's great. You make a few jokes, about, I might not get you to your house, but I'll get you to a house, and it may even be nicer than your old one. And I'm sure whoever lives here will come to love you just as much as your actual parents do. Dumb little jokes like that puts everyone at ease. It lets everyone know, yeah, no, this is a weird situation, and we're all feeling awkward and unsure of ourselves. It's fine. It justifies their weird feelings about it, and and it also makes them very grateful for their regular bus driver who is not a weirdo, and it makes everybody feel a little bit better about their situation. So even though I was feeling very frustrated and very agitated, I didn't let the kids in on that. We just got them home. And some of these kids got home a good hour later than they should have. And they were very patient with me, and I appreciate that. And they were very gracious. And I always have very good, very patient, fun kids. Once I got them all unloaded, I just let it out. And I was just crabby, and I was angry, and I was yelling at stoplights, and I was just so annoyed with the whole situation, with just lots of facets of this particular double route. The route itself is fine. The kids are fine. I just had some personal feelings about how things unfolded. Mostly, who told the high school that I was going to be 15 minutes before I could even have hoped to have been there? That irritated me. And so when I parked my bus and got in my car, I was the second to last bus in. Every other bus except one. Actually, every other bus was back to the lot. One was still sitting at the refueling station. And she's usually the last one there. And she locks the gate at the back of the lot as she leaves. And I beat her out of the gate. Sometimes I've done back-to-backs where she's beaten me, and I had to go out through the front gate and then walk all the way around to my car. I'm not whining about it. It's just a thing. But, so I'm sitting in my car, and I pull out my phone, and I text the one person still in the building, the one staff member still in the office. And I just kind of dumped. And I didn't blame her. I didn't, really blame anybody. But I said, here's the situation. She knew the situation. She'd been in the office. She'd been hearing everything on the radio. She even got involved at one point. But I was clearly irritated. I don't normally, vent like that. And she knows it. But I also know that she had, not only did she have to deal with my situation, but she had to deal with all the other situations because she was the only one in the office. Our transportation director is currently recovering from gallbladder surgery, and our operations manager leaves at 2 because he gets there so early in the morning. So it was this one person whose job isn't even to deal with this crap. And I just kind of it wasn't mean or anything. I didn't blame anybody. I wanted to complain to somebody who knew the situation. She didn't need that. She did not need me to dump on her like that, because being the only one in the office, she clearly felt like she was somehow being held responsible for what happened. And I know this person well. I like her a lot. She likes me. We get along very well. We both sometimes we vent to each other, but it's so much easier to vent in person and not have the person feel like they're being blamed. But I didn't do this in person. I did this over text. And therefore, now she's sitting there feeling as if she is in some way being blamed for this. And I think she knows me well enough to know that I'm not going to do that. But I also know her well enough to know that she internalizes things. So, yeah, that. I've been thinking about it all night. Not very happy with how I handled that. I don't think I was real mature about it. So just keep that in mind, when you're venting to someone, make absolutely certain that they know you're not blaming them, that you came to them as a safe person because you wanted to say your thoughts and feelings, even though you maybe don't 100% think or feel them. Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to just, it's this social version of screaming into your pillow. She was the pillow and I was screaming. And it wasn't even particularly mean, but I still feel like, great, now she is feeling like I felt, like someone thinks she's not doing her job well. And I didn't mean to do that. And I should have known. I should have seen it. I'm old enough I'm too old to be doing this kind of thing. Especially someone who claims to be very empathetic toward others and very aware of how people feel. I put her in a position where she wasn't going to feel very nice. Anyway, I just wanted to share that failure with you and encourage you to, you know, think before you trauma dump on people like I just did. But you guys don't have to watch the video. She has to deal with it. So, anyway, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you watching all these videos and listening to me think my thoughts out loud and watch me as I play this dumb game. We're on hole 8,800. We're burning right through. We've only got 1,200 more holes to go. Can you believe it? I can't. What are we going to do when we get to the end? Am I going to start a new game? I don't know if I have the strength for a new game. Maybe I will just start this game over again. I don't think I'll do that either. Anyway, you guys are amazing, wonderful. I love you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Goodbye.